Tamriel is a land of towering gods, forgotten realms, and mortals caught somewhere in between. Across its vast provinces, stories echo through time. Stories of great battles, lost heroes, and weapons so powerful they shaped the fate of nations. Some were forged in the heart of volcanoes, others gifted by Daedric princes, or ripped from the fabric of creation itself. But not all weapons are created equal. Some are simply tools, others are legends. And then there are a rare few that become something even greater, a force that transcends the person wielding it. So that brings us to the question, what is the strongest weapon in all of Elder Scrolls lore? To figure that out, I've prepared a list of weapons that are top contenders. These aren't just items you swing around in combat. They're relics with deep, rich histories tied to divine beings, ancient wars, or the very laws of existence. Each one has a story, and each one changed the world in some way. Over the course of this video, we're going to take a closer look at each of them. We'll explore where they came from, what they're capable of, and what kind of power they represent, not just in damage, but in lore significance. And by the end, we'll weigh it all up and figure out which one truly deserves the title of the strongest weapon in the Elder Scrolls universe. Because when you think about strength in a world like this, it's not always about the most damage per second. Sometimes it's about what the weapon means. Can it bend reality? Can it silence the gods? Can it destroy a soul, not just a body? That's the kind of scale we're talking about. And the truth is, there are several weapons that could make a serious claim to that throne. From the tools of Kagrenac, used to tap into the power of a dead god's heart, to the Staff of Magnus, a weapon designed to absorb and negate pure magic. These aren't just artifacts. They're pieces of history, anchors of power, weapons that defined eras. Then there's Volendrung, the Hammer of Might, known for its brutal strength and connection to Malakath, or Auriel's Bow, a weapon that predates mortal memory, said to have helped shape the cosmos during the Dawn era. We'll look at Mehrunes' Razor, infamous for its ability to kill with a single strike, and the Ebony Blade, a cursed weapon that feeds on betrayal and grows stronger the more it's used to destroy those closest to you. Each of these has its own terrifying potential, and each is backed by legends that stretch across time. So in the end, once we've gone through them all, we'll compare, not just which one can do the most damage, but which one matters the most. Which weapon has the clearest claim to being not just strong, but the strongest. This isn't about gameplay stats or what hits hardest in Skyrim or Morrowind. This is about what these weapons represent in the lore, how far their influence reaches, what they were created to do, and what they've already done. Because in the Elder Scrolls universe, a sword is never just a sword. Sometimes it's a god's voice. Sometimes it's a world-ending secret. And sometimes it's a mirror showing you who you really are. So let's begin. First, we need to talk about the tools of Kagrenac: Keening, Sunder, and Wraithguard. While technically three different artifacts, it's almost impossible to talk about one without the others. These weren't ordinary weapons or relics of war. They were instruments of godhood, crafted by the Dwemer tonal architect Kagrenac to tap directly into the heart of Lorkhan. This heart wasn't just some ancient power source. It was literally the divine spark ripped from a god during the creation of the world. And Kagrenac believed that with the right tonal manipulations, achieved through these tools, the Dwemer could transcend mortality itself. Wraithguard was the protective gauntlet, a buffer to shield its wearer from the raw, overwhelming divine energy of the heart. Without it, using the other tools would mean death. Sunder, a massive hammer, was designed to strike the heart with a very specific tonal vibration, one that would allow for the extraction and manipulation of its power. And Keening, a seemingly delicate blade, was used to fine-tune the energy once it was released. Alone, each artifact is dangerous. But together, in the hands of someone who understands their purpose, they become the closest thing mortals have ever come to rewriting the laws of reality. The thing is, this wasn't just theoretical. These tools were used. Kagrenac activated them at the climax of the Dwemer's greatest project, the construction of Numidium, a massive golem intended to serve as a new god. And then, in an instant, the entire Dwemer race vanished, disappeared from the face of Nirn. No bodies, no screams, just gone. To this day, Scholars argue about what exactly happened. Did Kagrenak succeed? Did he ascend his people beyond the mortal plane? Or did the tools fail, erasing their very existence? Whatever the truth, the tools were left behind, and they didn't vanish with their creators. Centuries later, they would be rediscovered in the hands of the tribunal, three powerful Khmer who would become living gods. Vivek, Almalexia, and Sotasil used the tools to tap into the heart and achieve apotheosis. They became divine rulers of Morrowind, reshaping their society around their newfound power. But the tools were never meant to be used indefinitely. Over time, the tribunal's connection to the heart became unstable. They had to return again and again to Red Mountain to recharge their divinity, a cycle that eventually led to Dagot Ur's rise. Dagoth, once a mortal friend of the tribunal, seized control of the heart and the tools after they left him for dead. He became a god in his own right, mad, powerful, and fanatically devoted to reshaping Morrowind in his own image. When the Nerevarine enters the scene in Morrowind, the final chapter of the Tools of Kagrenak plays out. The player must retrieve Wraithguard, strike the heart with Sunder, and finish it off with Keening, just like Kagrenak once tried. But this time, the result is the destruction of the heart's connection to Mundus. Dagoth Ur is defeated. The tribunal loses their power, and the tools become little more than ancient relics, still dangerous, but no longer god-making instruments. What makes these tools stand out isn't just their raw strength or the lore around them, it's what they represent. They are the ultimate example of Dwemer ingenuity, an attempt to seize divinity through science and sound rather than worship or fate. They were used to both make and unmake gods. They caused the extinction of an entire race, gave birth to an empire ruled by living deities, and ultimately reshaped the political and spiritual landscape of Morrowind forever. So while they might not shoot fireballs or summon Daedra, the tools of Kagrenak have done more to influence the fate of Tamriel than almost any other weapon in the Elder Scrolls universe. You can't call them anything less than contenders for the strongest tools ever forged. Another weapon worth mentioning is the Staff of Magnus. The Staff of Magnus is one of the most enigmatic and powerful artifacts in all of Elder Scrolls lore, and its importance stretches far beyond what we see in the games. It's more than just a weapon. It's a divine relic tied directly to the god Magnus, the architect of reality itself. When the Aedra were shaping Mundus, Magnus was the one who designed the structure of the mortal plane. But when he saw the cost of creation, he fled, tearing a hole in the fabric of reality that became the sun. His departure didn't mean the end of his influence, though, because from his absence came one of the most potent artifacts ever left behind, the Staff of Magnus. The legends say it's the only object capable of draining Magnus's own divine energy, and considering Magnus is the source of all magic in the mortal world, that puts this staff in a category of its own. While it might look like a simple wooden rod, the staff is essentially an anti-magic device of cosmic proportions. It doesn't just counter spells or absorb magicka in a basic sense, it feeds on the very source of magic itself. It's been described as a tool that could undo spells woven into the fabric of Mundus, and in the wrong hands, that kind of power could unravel entire realms. We see its effects firsthand during the events of Skyrim, where the staff becomes the central artifact in the College of Winterhold questline. The Eye of Magnus, a mysterious orb of seemingly infinite magical potential, is discovered beneath Sartall, and when its power begins to destabilize the world around it, only the Staff of Magnus can suppress and contain it. Even then, its influence is overwhelming, requiring precise timing and incredible strength to keep it in check. But that's just the surface level. In the metaphysical history of Tamriel, the Staff of Magnus is a relic that represents control over the uncontrollable. It's not just a tool of mages, it's a key to locking and unlocking the very forces that hold reality together. And unlike other artifacts that are tied to Daedric princes or mortal champions, this one is rooted in the very act of creation. Magnus wasn't just another Aedra. He was the one who knew how the universe worked and chose to leave before he became trapped in it. So the staff is what remains of that knowledge and power, a sort of divine blueprint turned weapon. Over the eras, it has passed through countless hands, always showing up when the stakes are impossibly high. Some say it was used during the early conflicts between Mer and Men, while others claim it was hidden away by Magnus himself to prevent it from being misused. There are even theories that the staff doesn't just suppress magic, it stores it, feeding on it like a well that could eventually overflow. That would make it not only a weapon of anti-magic, but a potential bomb of raw arcane force, waiting to be unleashed by someone who truly understands its inner workings. Compared to other magical weapons, the Staff of Magnus stands apart, because it doesn't rely on flashy enchantments or brute force. Its strength lies in what it negates. Every spell, every barrier, every magical defense becomes useless in the face of this staff. And in a world like Tamriel, where so many threats are rooted in sorcery and divine manipulation, having a tool that can shut all of that down is nothing short of terrifying. Whether wielded by a scholar seeking balance or a warlord looking to silence the gods, the Staff of Magnus remains one of the most dangerous and significant relics in Elder Scrolls history. It's the kind of artifact that doesn't just change battles, it changes the rules of existence. And as we move through this list of contenders for the strongest weapon, it's clear that the Staff of Magnus belongs in the conversation, not just for its raw capability, but for what it represents, the ability to shut off the tap of magic itself, and in doing so, potentially collapse the very fabric of the world. Another worthy contender is the Volendrung. Volendrung is one of those weapons that feels like it was born from contradiction, a hammer forged by the Dwemer, the most logical and scientific race in Tamriel's history. Yet over time, it became a Daedric artifact associated with Malakath, the Prince of Outcasts, rage and vengeance. It's this strange duality that makes Volendrung so interesting, not just in its raw strength, but in the story it tells across eras. At first glance, it's a massive warhammer, larger than most mortals should be able to wield, but that's part of its magic. It grants the wielder immense physical strength, far beyond what their body would normally allow. In battle, it's known for its ability to drain stamina from enemies, letting its user stay standing while others collapse from exhaustion. But Volendrung's true legacy goes deeper than its combat prowess. Originally crafted by the Dwemer of Rorken clan, it was meant to be a symbol, even a message of defiance. According to legend, when the Dwemer of Hammerfell refused to join their kin in Resdayn under a unified cause, Clan Rorken rebelled. In an act of symbolic rejection, one of their chieftains hurled Volendrung across Tamriel, vowing to settle wherever the hammer landed. It eventually landed in what would become Volenfell, Hammerfell's ancient Dwemer ruin, giving the hammer its name. That alone would have secured its place in the mythos of Tamriel. But Volendrung didn't stay in the hands of mortals. Over time, it somehow became a tool of Malakath, shifting from Dwemer technology to Daedric artifact, a rare and puzzling transformation. No one knows exactly how that happened, and that uncertainty adds to its mystique. It's now firmly connected to the Daedric realm of the Ashpit, Malakath's domain, and he grants it to champions who prove themselves through violence and resolve. Unlike artifacts like the Ebony Blade or Mehrunes' Razor, Volendrung doesn't whisper or manipulate. It's not subtle. It's a hammer made for crushing skulls and breaking through whatever stands in your way. But it also comes with the unpredictability of Daedric magic. Sometimes it shows up in the world, sometimes it disappears for centuries. Malakath seems to enjoy watching mortals fight over it, or perhaps he's just testing who deserves to carry such power. In Elder Scrolls Online, during the events of the Alliance War, Volendrung appears in Cyrodiil as a world-altering siege weapon. Players can wield it temporarily, gaining devastating abilities that can shift the tide of war. But it demands constant use, feeding on energy to stay active. This appearance paints Volendrung not just as a relic of the past, but as a living weapon, one that still influences the fate of Tamriel in the present day. It's also notable that even among the Daedric artifacts, Volendrung is different. It doesn't corrupt in the same way. It doesn't beg for blood or whisper lies. Its danger comes from the power it grants and the decisions the wielder makes with it. It's easy to lose yourself in that strength, to stop seeing enemies as people and start seeing them as obstacles to be flattened. That's where Malakath's influence shows, not in temptation, but in fury. What sets Volendrung apart in the race for the strongest weapon isn't just its raw force, though that can't be denied. It's the fact that it bridges two entirely different origins, Dwemer logic and Daedric chaos. It represents a blend of science and divine madness, which gives it a presence few other weapons can match. It's a relic of lost knowledge, stolen and reshaped by a being who hates everything the Dwemer stood for, and somehow that tension only makes it stronger. Whether you see it as a tool of engineering or an instrument of divine rage, Volendrung has a history soaked in rebellion, exile, and sheer brute power. It doesn't ask for permission, it just hits harder than anything else, and it keeps doing so across centuries. That's what makes it a serious contender for the strongest weapon in Elder Scrolls lore. It's not just what it can do, but how it has endured and evolved through the ages. We also have to mention Auriel's bow. Auriel's bow stands out as one of the most iconic and legendary weapons in Elder Scrolls lore, closely tied to Auriel, the elven aspect of Akatosh, the dragon god of time. This bow isn't just a tool for archery. It's a relic that embodies the very essence of time and creation, which instantly places it among the most powerful artifacts in Tamriel's history. According to the legends, Auriel's bow played a critical role during the Dawn era, the time when the universe itself was being shaped. It's said that the bow was wielded by Auriel to help reshape reality, fighting against forces of destruction and helping to stabilize the fabric of time. This makes the weapon unique, not just for its combat potential, but for its cosmic significance. One of the most fascinating aspects of Auriel's bow is its reputed ability to reverse the flow of time. While this sounds like high fantasy, the implications in lore suggest that the bow can influence the past and future in subtle ways. In Skyrim, players encounter Auriel's bow as a powerful Daedric artifact, capable of firing sun-hallowed or blood-cursed arrows. These enchanted arrows show its deep connection to light and life, with sun-hallowed arrows bringing destruction to undead enemies, and blood-cursed arrows dealing damage to living foes, adding layers of complexity and power. The bow's design and symbolism are steeped in Auriel's mythology. Crafted with ethereal materials and inscribed with ancient elven runes, Auriel's bow symbolizes divine authority over time and fate. Unlike typical weapons forged for brute force, it's elegant and precise, channeling Auriel's will to maintain order and counter chaos. Throughout Elder Scrolls history, Auriel's bow also represents a direct link to the ancient Aldmeri, especially the High Elves, who revere Auriel as the chief god and protector. This connection highlights the bow's importance beyond mere combat. It is a sacred artifact, a symbol of divine justice and protection. In the famous Battle of Red Mountain, which was a pivotal event shaping Morrowind's history, the power of Auriel and his artifacts, like Auriel's bow, is often referenced as part of the mythic backdrop that shaped the Dunmer people and the Tribunal. Though the bow itself wasn't wielded directly during that battle in the recorded history, its influence on the gods and mortals involved was profound. Another notable feature is the bow's influence on time-related magic and rituals. In some lore, wielding Auriel's bow or its arrows can affect time distortion fields or break enchantments linked to temporal manipulation. This makes it an invaluable asset against enemies or situations involving time magic, further distinguishing it from typical weapons. Auriel's bow is not just about raw damage, but about precision and purpose. The bow requires a skilled wielder, one who respects the balance of time and fate, as misuse could lead to disastrous consequences. This adds a layer of mystique and responsibility to the weapon's legacy. Only those chosen or worthy can unlock its true potential. When comparing Auriel's bow to other legendary weapons, its power lies less in brute strength and more in its unique divine essence and temporal abilities. Unlike artifacts such as Volendrung or the tools of Kagernach, which manipulate physical or metaphysical forces directly, Auriel's bow operates on a more subtle and cosmic level, controlling time's flow and reality's fabric. This makes it a formidable contender for the title of the strongest weapon in Elder Scrolls lore, because its abilities transcend mere physical combat and delve into the manipulation of existence itself. In summary, Auriel's bow is a weapon of legend, forged by divine hands, tied intrinsically to the dragon god of time. Auriel. Its role in reshaping reality during the Dawn era and its unique ability to influence time set it apart from nearly all other artifacts in Tamriel. Elegant yet devastating, precise yet cosmically powerful, Auriel's bow embodies the harmony between divine order and mortal fate, making it one of the most awe-inspiring weapons ever to exist in the Elder Scrolls universe. The fifth weapon on our list is Mehrunes' Razor. Mehrunes' Razor is one of the most infamous and feared weapons in the Elder Scrolls universe, known far and wide as a Daedric dagger of unmatched lethality. Crafted by Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric Prince of Destruction and Change, this dagger embodies chaos, sudden violence, and absolute precision. What sets Mehrunes' Razor apart from virtually every other weapon is its unique ability, the chance to instantly kill any target, regardless of their strength, armor, or magical defenses. This effect makes it a weapon of terrifying unpredictability and deadly potential. No matter how powerful or well protected an enemy might be, a single strike from Mehrunes' Razor could end their life in an instant, cutting through defenses like they were nothing. This characteristic places it in a category of its own, especially among stealthy characters and assassins who prize efficiency and lethality above all else. The dagger's origin story is deeply rooted in the lore surrounding Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric prince associated with destruction, revolution, and change. Mehrunes' Razor serves as an extension of the prince's will, a tool meant to bring swift and decisive ends to those who cross him or stand in the way of his ambitions. Its very existence is a symbol of the sudden upheaval and chaos that Mehrunes Dagon represents. Beyond its mechanics, the razor has a storied history within Tamriel's mortal realms. It is considered a rare and dangerous artifact coveted by assassins, warriors, and even royalty. Stories abound of its appearance in critical moments of history, turning the tide of battles or ending powerful lives with a single fatal strike. In Morrowind, Mehrunes' Razor is tied to a Daedric quest where the player must retrieve it from the depths of a dangerous dungeon. The quest itself emphasizes the weapon's deadly reputation and connection to Mehrunes Dagon's destructive nature. Its rarity and power make it a prize sought by many but obtained by few, adding to its legendary status. What also adds to the Razor's mystique is the fear it instills, not only in mortals but even among Daedra themselves. This fear comes from its ability to cut down even the mightiest foes with a single blow, an attribute that few other weapons possess. While many Daedric artifacts grant power or destructive magic, Mehrunes' Razor's claim to fame is its deadly precision and the finality it brings. The dagger's physical appearance is as striking as its reputation, typically depicted as a sleek, sharp blade with a dark, metallic sheen, often adorned with Daedric runes or symbols. Its compact size makes it ideal for stealth, assassination, or surprise attacks, perfectly matching its role as a weapon of sudden death. Despite its incredible power, Mehrunes' Razor is not without limitations. The chance for an instant kill means it is not guaranteed every strike will be fatal, introducing an element of risk and unpredictability to its use. This aspect balances its overwhelming lethality and adds strategic depth to wielding the weapon. In the broader context of Elder Scrolls lore, Mehrunes' Razor represents the theme of destruction through swift and decisive action. Unlike weapons tied to gods or creation, the Razor is about endings, upheaval, and the power to abruptly change the course of events with a single, well-placed strike. This quality places it in contrast with other legendary weapons that rely on raw power or divine intervention. In summary, Mehrunes' Razor is a Daedric dagger forged by the Prince of Destruction himself, embodying lethal precision and the terrifying ability to instantly kill any foe. Its connection to Mehrunes Dagon and its storied history across Tamriel make it one of the most feared and respected weapons in the Elder Scrolls universe. The combination of divine origin, deadly mechanics, and the aura of chaos it brings makes Mehrunes' Razor a formidable contender when discussing the strongest weapons in Elder Scrolls lore. We obviously have to mention the Ebony Blade. The Ebony Blade stands as one of the most intriguing and sinister weapons in Elder Scrolls lore, a cursed greatsword forged under the dark influence of Mephala, the Daedric Prince of Secrets, Lies, and Murder. Unlike many legendary weapons that draw their power from raw might or divine energy, the Ebony Blade's strength is deeply tied to the shadowy nature of betrayal and manipulation. This weapon is unique in that it grows stronger not through simple use, but specifically through acts of treachery committed by its wielder against those closest to them. Each betrayal, each broken trust, feeds the blade's dark power, making it a weapon that thrives on emotional corruption and the erosion of loyalty. This characteristic makes the Ebony Blade far more than just a tool for battle. It is a symbol of the poisonous consequences of deceit and the dangers of ambition, unbound by honor. The sword's origin story ties directly to Mephala's sphere of influence, as the prince's domain encompasses secrets, hidden knowledge, and the deadly web of assassination and intrigue. By creating a weapon that rewards betrayal, Mephala ensured the Ebony Blade would act as an extension of their will, tempting wielders to embrace darkness in pursuit of power. This link to a Daedric prince alone sets the Ebony Blade apart from many other legendary weapons, but its curse adds a layer of complexity that makes it both powerful and dangerous to its owner. The blade's physical form is imposing, a large black greatsword forged from ebony, a rare and magical material that symbolizes both strength and shadow. Its dark surface often carries faint glowing runes or markings that hint at its unnatural origin, reinforcing the idea that this is not a weapon meant for the faint of heart. In Skyrim, the Ebony Blade is found as a unique weapon, with special enchantments that increase its damage the more the wielder betrays friends or allies, encouraging a playstyle steeped in deception and moral ambiguity. This gameplay mechanic mirrors its lore perfectly, making it a favorite among players who enjoy dark and twisted narratives. The sword's association with betrayal extends beyond mere gameplay. In the lore, the Ebony Blade has a storied history involving various wielders who succumbed to its corrupting influence. Many tales describe how the blade's hunger for betrayal led to the downfall of powerful warriors and nobles, each act of treachery binding their souls further to the weapon's dark legacy. This cycle of power and corruption makes the Ebony Blade a cautionary tale about the price of ambition and the seductive nature of power gained through deceit. Despite its dark origins, the Ebony Blade has found a place of reverence among certain groups in Tamriel, who see it as a tool of ultimate influence, a way to manipulate political and personal power by turning trusted allies into enemies. The sword embodies Mephala's teachings that true power often lies in secrets and shadows, and that control over others can be wielded as effectively as any blade. Its cursed nature means that wielders are often caught in a tragic struggle. The blade demands betrayal to grow stronger, but each act distances the wielder further from honor and trust, potentially isolating them from all allies and leaving them vulnerable despite their increased might. This paradox adds depth to the weapon's story, making it a symbol of the destructive consequences of moral compromise. Compared to other legendary weapons that focus on raw, destructive power or divine intervention, the Ebony Blade stands out as a weapon of subtlety and psychological warfare. It is not just about dealing damage in combat, but about shaping the fate of relationships and altering the course of events through deception. This makes it a weapon that influences the world not just through force, but through the unraveling of trust and loyalty. In the wider context of Elder Scrolls lore, the Ebony Blade reflects the complex nature of power and the multifaceted roles that Daedric princes play in the lives of mortals. Mephala's influence is often overlooked compared to other princes, but through the Ebony Blade, their reach is undeniable, touching on the darkest aspects of human nature and ambition. This connection enriches the tapestry of Tamriel's mythology and underscores the theme that power rarely comes without a price. To sum it up, the Ebony Blade is a cursed Daedric greatsword, forged by Mephala that grows stronger with each act of betrayal by its wielder. It embodies the dark themes of manipulation, secrecy, and emotional corruption, making it a weapon both powerful and tragically dangerous. Its lore, mechanics, and symbolic weight place it firmly among the strongest and most fascinating weapons in the Elder Scrolls universe. Another worthy contender are Goldbrand and Eltonbrand. Goldbrand and Eltonbrand stand out as two of the most fascinating and legendary weapons in Elder Scrolls lore, both connected to the powerful Daedric prince Boethiah, a figure associated with deceit, treachery, and the testing of warriors. Goldbrand is often described as a katana or curved sword, a weapon bestowed by Boethiah to champions and warriors who prove themselves worthy through combat, cunning, or sheer force of will. Its name alone carries weight across Tamriel, signaling not just a powerful blade, but a symbol of divine favor and deadly skill. This weapon appears in multiple Elder Scrolls games, most notably in Oblivion and Skyrim, where it is prized for both its elegance and its formidable combat abilities. The lore surrounding Goldbrand ties it to the themes of challenge and trial that Boethiah embodies, making it a weapon for those who are tested and rise above their peers. It is not merely a tool of destruction, but a sign of a warrior's status as a chosen champion. Eltonbrand, on the other hand, is far more mysterious and elusive. It is sometimes described as a hidden or variant form of Goldbrand, shrouded in myth and often sought after by those who desire the pinnacle of power and prestige. This weapon is considered exceedingly rare, and its origins and true nature are less clearly defined than Goldbrand's, adding an air of mystique that only enhances its legendary status. Eltonbrand is often seen as an even greater prize, perhaps a secret gift from Boethiah to only the most worthy or those who have delved into the deepest secrets of the Daedric prince's influence. Both weapons carry with them a narrative of chosen champions, warriors marked by Boethiah's favor, who walk a path of power gained through trials and conflict. Their association with Boethiah ties them to themes of ambition, the testing of strength and honor, and the sometimes brutal nature of divine favor. The blades are as much symbols of status as they are deadly weapons, marking their wielders as formidable figures destined for greatness or destruction. Goldbrand's presence in Tamrielic tales is widespread, often appearing as a reward for defeating challenging foes or completing difficult quests, reinforcing its role as a weapon for those who prove themselves in battle. Its design, often depicted with a golden blade or accents, reflects not just its power but the high esteem in which it is held. The weapon's abilities in-game reflect its lore, often dealing fire damage or having enchantments that mark it as a blade of both elegance and deadly force. Eltonbrand, though less frequently encountered, is surrounded by whispers and legends of secret chambers, hidden quests, and rare encounters, making it a tantalizing prize for lore enthusiasts and adventurers alike. Its rarity only adds to the allure, making the search for Eltonbrand a legendary pursuit that echoes the themes of mystery and divine favor that Boethiah embodies. In the broader Elder Scrolls universe, Goldbrand and Eltonbrand illustrate the complex relationship between mortals and the Daedric princes. These weapons are not mere tools, but extensions of Boethiah's will, instruments that test the mettle of warriors, and serve as markers of divine interaction with the mortal world. Their stories are intertwined with the struggles for power, honor, and survival that define much of Tamriel's history. The fact that these weapons come as a pair, one well-known and one shrouded in mystery, adds depth to their legend, inviting speculation and storytelling that enriches the lore. Ultimately, Goldbrand and Eltonbrand stand as powerful symbols of Boethiah's influence and the enduring legacy of champions, chosen by fate and divine challenge. They are weapons that carry with them not only strength and skill, but the weight of myth and the ongoing narrative of Tamriel's eternal struggles. For fans of Elder Scrolls lore, these blades offer a glimpse into the intricate dance between power, ambition, and destiny that shapes the world and its heroes. Next is Umbra, Umbra is one of the most iconic and intriguing weapons in the Elder Scrolls universe, known primarily as a soul-trapping sword with a dark and mysterious history. Unlike many Daedric artifacts that serve their creators without question, Umbra is often described as having a will of its own, making it a unique and unpredictable force within Tamriel's arsenal of legendary weapons. Its connection to the Daedric prince Clavicus Vile adds layers of complexity, as the sword is said to have once belonged to or been claimed by this prince of bargains and wishes, yet at times it seems to defy even his control. This rebellious nature distinguishes Umbra from other Daedric weapons, positioning it as a living entity rather than just a tool of destruction. The soul-trapping aspect of Umbra is central to its identity and power. It has the ability to capture the souls of those it slays, imprisoning them within the blade itself. This feature not only replenishes the weapon's strength, but also ties it to the very essence of life and death. The souls caught within Umbra add to its dark aura and may even influence its behavior, hinting at the possibility of consciousness or a form of sentience tied to the souls it contains. Across the Elder Scrolls games, Umbra has appeared in multiple incarnations, each adding to its layered mythology. In Morrowind, it was introduced as a powerful Daedric sword, but it was in Oblivion and Skyrim that Umbra's legend truly flourished. In Skyrim, the quest to obtain Umbra involves confronting the sword's past and its connection to a tragic story of betrayal and ambition, enhancing its narrative depth. This questline invites players to explore themes of loyalty, power, and the consequences of obsession. The sword's presence in the games is often tied to themes of corruption and the cost of power, reflecting how weapons of great strength in Tamriel frequently come with hidden dangers or moral dilemmas. Its soul-trapping capabilities make it a weapon of both utility and menace, capable of turning the tide of battle by continuously drawing strength from defeated foes. Umbra's design and in-game effects emphasize its dark nature. It often glows with an eerie light, signifying the souls it holds and its supernatural origins. This visual presence adds to its mystique and appeal, marking it as a weapon not just of physical power but of metaphysical significance. The sword's long history across Elder Scrolls titles has made it a fan favorite, inspiring speculation about its true nature and origins. Some lore interpretations suggest that Umbra is more than a mere weapon. It may be a vessel for a trapped soul or spirit, perhaps even an extension of Clavicus Vile's will or a cursed relic born of a broken bargain. This ambiguity fuels the sword's legend, encouraging players and lore enthusiasts to delve deeper into Tamriel's complex mythology. Umbra exemplifies the blend of narrative and gameplay that defines Elder Scrolls weapons. It is both a tool for combat and a storytelling device that enriches the world's lore. The sword embodies the dangerous allure of power obtained through questionable means, the struggle between control and autonomy, and the haunting consequences of dark bargains with supernatural forces. In the end, Umbra stands as a symbol of Tamriel's rich tapestry of myths, where weapons are more than steel and magic. They are carriers of stories, souls, and the eternal struggle between mortal ambition and otherworldly influence. For any fan of Elder Scrolls, Umbra represents that perfect balance of thrilling combat power and deep lore significance, making it one of the most memorable and powerful weapons ever to grace the series. We also have to mention Chrysamere, known as the Paladin's Blade, holds a special place among the legendary weapons of Tamriel due to its reputation as a powerful tool of protection and destruction. Unlike many Daedric artifacts or divine weapons steeped in grandiose myth, Chrysamere's lore is more grounded yet no less impressive, marking it as one of the most potent mortal weapons ever crafted. Its power lies in its balanced blend of offense and defense, granting its wielder abilities that make it invaluable in battle and survivability alike. One of the key features of Chrysamere is its ability to regenerate health, a rare and highly coveted trait that allows warriors to sustain themselves through prolonged combat. This regenerative property not only enhances the wielder's endurance, but also underscores the sword's connection to resilience and fortitude, essential qualities for any paladin or champion. Additionally, Chrysamere offers resistance to magic, providing protection against a broad array of spells and magical effects. This dual capability to both heal and defend makes the blade exceptionally versatile, capable of standing against foes who rely on physical strength as well as those who wield arcane power. The sword's origins tie it to the legendary Knights of the Nine, a sacred order devoted to the Nine Divines and dedicated to eradicating evil throughout Tamriel. This historical context adds weight to Chrysamir's legacy, as it symbolizes the ideals of righteousness, justice, and unwavering commitment to the divine cause. Although the lore surrounding Chrysamere is less flashy compared to the Daedric weapons or artifacts of godly origin, its impact in the world of mortals is profound. It represents the pinnacle of craftsmanship and divine blessing channeled into a weapon meant for heroes of flesh and blood rather than gods or Daedra. Its presence in the game Oblivion, particularly in the Knights of the Nine expansion, highlights its importance as a relic tied to epic quests and holy missions. Unlike some weapons that rely on destructive chaos or overwhelming magical power, Chrysamir's strength is more measured but equally formidable. It embodies the virtues of protection and sustained combat, reflecting a philosophy of enduring through trials rather than obliterating foes outright. This approach to power resonates with players who appreciate a weapon that balances offense and defense, offering tactical advantages in a wide range of encounters. The sword's design is also emblematic of its role as a paladin's blade, sturdy, elegant, and imbued with a quiet dignity rather than ostentatious displays of power. This visual representation complements its lore, reinforcing the theme of steadfastness and noble purpose. Chrysamir's reputation as one of the strongest mortal weapons is not just a matter of stats or in-game mechanics, but is deeply rooted in its narrative significance. It stands as a testament to the idea that true power in Tamriel often comes from dedication, faith, and the willingness to uphold justice in the face of darkness. For those who wield Chrysamir, it becomes more than a weapon. It is a symbol of their role as protectors and champions, carrying the weight of divine responsibility. In the grand spectrum of Elder Scrolls weaponry, Chrysamere holds a unique position. While it may not reshape reality like the tools of Khagranach or drain divine energy like the Staff of Magnus, it offers something equally vital: the power to endure, to heal, and to resist, making it indispensable in the hands of those who fight for a just cause. It reminds players that sometimes the strongest weapon is not the one that strikes the hardest or the fastest, but the one that keeps its wielder standing when all odds seem stacked against them. In conclusion, Chrysamir's legacy as the Paladin's blade is a blend of practical power and noble heritage. It shines as a beacon of mortal strength blessed by the divine, a weapon forged not just for destruction, but for protection and perseverance. For fans of the Elder Scrolls series, Chrysamir offers a compelling example of how legend and utility come together to create a weapon that is both formidable and meaningful within Tamriel's rich tapestry of myth and history. And the last one on our list is the Spear of Bitter Mercy. Unlike many Daedric artifacts that are well known or frequently wielded by mortals, the Spear of Bitter Mercy is shrouded in mystery and legend, its power so immense that even other Daedric princes reportedly regard it with caution. This weapon's reputation stems not only from its raw destructive capacity, but also from its association with the primal forces of the hunt, the wild, and the cycle of life and death. As a symbol of Hircine's dominion, the spear embodies the ruthless, unforgiving nature of the chase, and the hunter's relentless pursuit of prey. The lore surrounding the Spear of Bitter Mercy suggests that it is rarely given to mortals, and when it is usually to champions chosen by Hircine himself, those who have proven their worth in the deadly rites of the hunt or who serve his will in other dark ways. Mortals wielding this weapon are often regarded as extensions of Hircine's wrath, feared not just for the spear's lethality, but for the supernatural bond it forges between the hunter and the hunted. In many tales, the spear is said to have the power to strike down even the mightiest of foes with ease, capable of piercing armor and flesh as if they were nothing. Its blows are said to carry a weight beyond mere physical force, often described as delivering judgment or retribution with a finality that leaves no room for mercy, hence its name. What sets the Spear of Bitter Mercy apart from other Daedric weapons is not just its killing power, but the spiritual and mystical aspects tied to its use. It is believed to be a conduit for Hircine's divine essence, allowing the wielder to tap into the primordial forces of nature and the hunt. This connection elevates the spear from a mere weapon to a tool of cosmic significance, a physical manifestation of Hircine's will in the mortal realm. The spear's power is often portrayed as uncontrollable and wild, reflecting the chaotic and untamed nature of the hunt itself. Those who wield it must be prepared to embrace not only its strength, but also its burdens, including the possibility of being consumed by the very forces they seek to command. The rarity of the Spear of Bitter Mercy and the secrecy surrounding it add to its mystique. Unlike other famous artifacts that can be found, wielded, or studied by adventurers and scholars, the spear's appearances in the games and lore are sparse and often veiled in cryptic references. This scarcity only fuels speculation and fascination among fans and scholars of the Elder Scrolls. Despite its fearsome reputation, the spear is not just a weapon of destruction. It represents a complex relationship between predator and prey, life and death, mercy and cruelty. In this sense, the Spear of Bitter Mercy embodies the dual nature of the hunt, both a sacred ritual and a brutal test of survival. Its wielders are often seen as chosen hunters, bound by oath or fate to carry out Hircine's will, serving as arbiters of balance in a world where death is as natural as life. In gameplay terms, while the spear may not be as widely accessible or as prominently featured as other Daedric weapons, its lore makes it a symbol of ultimate hunting prowess and fearsome power. It challenges players and fans alike to consider the deeper themes of predation and survival that run through the Elder Scrolls mythos. To sum up, the Spear of Bitter Mercy stands as a testament to the raw, untamed forces that shape Tamriel's history and legend. It is a weapon that transcends mere mortal craftsmanship, infused with divine power and bound to the will of one of the most primal Daedric princes. Its legend inspires awe and fear in equal measure, reminding us that in the world of the Elder Scrolls, true power often lies not in brute force alone, but in the connection between wielder and cosmic force. For anyone fascinated by the lore of Daedric artifacts and the deeper mysteries of Tamriel, the Spear of Bitter Mercy is a compelling and formidable contender among the strongest weapons ever known.